Takulandirani ku AMTV Malawi kuchimake kwa nkhani zenizeni. Ngati nkhani imeneyo kuno kulibe, dziwani kuti nkhani imeneyo ndi yabodza.
I now recognize honorable member for Mulanje West for a contribution. You are starting at 1444. Thank you.
Thank you so much, the Right Honorable First Deputy Speaker. Through you, I would like to thank the members and the people of Mulanje West, Juma, and all those group village headman Chimbalanga, Ngumera, Nkando, Juma, Mulunguzi, Mwawihe, for having the privilege of asking me to represent them in this August House. And they've asked me to contribute to the SONA, a very brief and summarized SONA. And we congratulate the President. My plea is to ask those people who used to travel that when they travel going to America, they should not inherit the assets. Because we were able to hear what the President was talking about. We were able to follow what the President was talking about, comparing to a number of people when they come in here, they speak things which we cannot even listen and hear and understand what they're talking about. But I would like to thank the President for that. In fact, thank you so much for knowing that it's about you, but I didn't mention the name. The Right Honorable First Deputy Speaker, the issues which I'm going to tackle here are issues of maize. Yes, indeed, we're able to access to maize at a good, affordable price. And the people out there, they're able to buy maize at an affordable price. We were now selling our country because maize is a step food in the country, but the way how we are buying, the prices which we are buying maize in Malawi, it was really questionable. And people couldn't even make it to buy maize. It would have come even at 90,000 per bag or 100,000 a bag. But now they're able to afford to buy food and eat. What we are looking forward is to ask the Minister of Agriculture to look into the policy of agriculture. That as we are importing maize from Zambia, come next year, having the budget come this Friday, that we need to have our own. Even the categorizing our districts to say we are able to grow a lot of maize in Zimba, let maize be empowered in Zimba, let Zimba be empowered fully to produce a lot of maize. We're able to produce a lot of nuts in Chinji, let the farmers in Chinji produce a lot of nuts, and we should also add value in the country than even selling the raw nuts, than adding value so that we should just sell and employ people here in the country. What we are seeing now is to export the raw material of groundnuts, of pigeon peas, like which we grow in Mulanje, Palombe, because people they're able to eat in India and also in other countries, than even adding value here in the country, that we can even employ our own people, the youth, so to say, so that we can even sell already processed food export already processed food abroad, that we can even empower the economy of the country. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Right Honorable First Deputy Speaker, we can also do that with cotton in the Sanje and Chikwawa. We can do that even in meat for Zimba as well. We can also do that with cooking oils that we can ask in Mulanje. We always plant sunflower, and also in Chinji, they can be producing cooking oil and importing cooking oil from abroad. And we can be doing here, and we can also add value and top up the 100 million Malawi Kwacha, which we are going to empower the youth in different constituencies. Let me applaud government for that, because at first we used to be hearing about NIF, which we were milking already well-established youth. NIF is not all that good for the youth. If anything, we need to look into it. Because the Right Honorable First Deputy Speaker, we borrow, or we are going to lend money to the youth, almost 10 million to the youth from NIF. What they are going to pay back is more than 10 million, and maybe it might be 100 million. This way of doing it is also starving the youth in the rural areas where they've started their own business and they're able to make their own money from the small business which they're doing. And when we encourage them to borrow money from NIF, it's just even starving them, milking the already thin cow which we have in the country. So the 100 million is a thing to pat the government at the back that they've done well, that the 100 million is going to empower the youth and go borrow money without having problems, as the case with NIF. At the end of the day, the few people, they are the ones who were benefiting. If I go back, the Right Honorable Speaker, the President said about the markets of the city of Blantyre, Lilongwe, and Nzuzu. These, if there are going to be also industries where we are going to processing our seeds, let's say pigeon peas in Palombe Mulanje, if you're going to be selling to the very business people in Blantyre, and they process it in Blantyre, they're going to get a lot of money than selling the whole pigeon peas from Blantyre, from Mulanje, Palombe, Chiladzulu, and Cholo to South Africa, Zambia, Tanzania, as well as India, whereby we are going to make a loss than process it and sell it there, where we are going to empower the economy of the country. We are looking forward that if they are going to top up on making industries, big industries, on top of the city, the markets, the two-story markets which they're going to construct in Blantyre and Nzuzu, as well as in Lilongwe. And I'm sure they're not going to forget Nkando market. The Minister of Local Government can agree with me that Nkando is a growing now town, is going to be a city, and it gives out to the district council a lot of money from the market. So if you're going to have a very good market, not a two-story market at Nkando, but just a very good market, we can also salute you, the Right Honorable Speaker, through you to the Minister of Local Government. In the agriculture, we used to have OVOP. Where is OVOP, as I've already said, about categorizing different districts with the produce which they're going to produce? We need to have this, and we need to have agro-processing if you want to increase the economy or to empower the economy of the country. We need to add value as well, the Right Honorable First Deputy Speaker, to what we should also be doing in the country as we are producing cotton, as we are producing pigeon peas, as we are producing groundnuts, as we are producing maize in the country. So OVOP was important, and we need to look into this. For the fertilizer, we need to salute the Minister of Agriculture. Yes, in our constituency, in Mulanje West constituency, they've managed to buy the subsidized fertilizer. Only that we are experiencing a lot of heavy rains now, the month of February, March, and maybe April. And even if we've applied fertilizer, we are going to experience also hunger because it is Palombe, Tuchila Plain, the constituencies of Mulanje West, Mulanje North, and Mulanje Pasan. These are the areas which we experience. We need to have moderate rains if you ask to harvest. But we need to salute the Minister of Agriculture. He has done a lot. He didn't even politicize, and he was able to smartly announcing to the people that this is for everyone. And the President has rightly said that this is for every Jim and Jack to access to fertilizer. I need to applaud you, the Minister of Agriculture, for doing that. You've bailed us out to some of the things which we were experiencing. I need also to comment on the mining, which the President said. The Right Honorable First Deputy Speaker, if we are to focus very much on mining, we can even fund the whole budget for this Parliament. What we are asking the government, the Right Honorable First Deputy Speaker, is to empower the experts and have a very expertise who are going to look into the mining. And we need to process all those than selling our gold and whatever abroad than doing it here, where we can also employ the youth to be processing that. And those who will be looking into that, the President has already said that he's not going to condone corruption because some of these things, let me say this, we haven't even benefiting from the minerals which we have in the country because some of them, they were just having them in their houses. Some were even selling those to state house. Some, they were just taking them in briefcase, going abroad with that, without even empowering the local people, even without even selling here that we've got to benefit and have a lot of money from the minerals which you have in the country. So if the Minister of Mining is going to look into it and make sure that we are doing it alone here, we empower people here, they do that, we process our minerals, the better we are going to do by empowering the youth, the women, and also bring economy to the country, because take it or leave it, mining can fund the whole budget of this August House without even, and we can also even agree to say, okay, the same as what agriculture can do and mining can do. We say, okay, Nchinji, you can produce the 5 billion yourself within the country from each and every constituency. Mulanje, you can do that because you have your own minerals, you have your produce, we can produce and you can even process it and you sell abroad and you get money. In that way, we can be exporting things which are already added value to the other countries across the border. In terms of infrastructure, road...
You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. I'm winding the right honorable First Deputy Speaker. The President talked about road infrastructure. Indeed, this is so paramount in terms of the development of the country. I want to comment on Cheu-Sangano Road. It's a very important road where we have a lot of wheat in that area. We can also be processing that wheat into our own bread if we are going to have this road, which the President has said that is going to have it in Sangano, Cheu, and Mwanza, and Neno. And in that way, we can also be transporting fruits from Mwanza to Blantyre, and having without even transporting fruits from Mwanza, we can also have factory there and produce our juice there and empowering the local farmers. So, the Right Honorable Speaker, I wanted to comment on this, which also electricity is also very paramount, which brings development, and I'm sure the Minister of Energy is going to look into it as what the President has said. And we're looking forward for the electrification of a number of trading centers. You talk about Wende, we talk about Liwonde, we talk about Muhio, Chimbalanga, we talk about Chesan. These are the trading centers which are looking forward to be electrified when the budget is going to be passed come Friday. And the First Deputy Speaker, what we are looking forward is not free. We are talking about the boarding education. As I'm winding, we will salute the government for the free education. But in terms of the boarding, if the next season, the next year, if you look into subsidizing the boarding, the better. Not free boarding, but let's subsidize it so that we should also be bailed out. Because each and every time we are not sleeping, people coming for the boarding fee, to pay boarding fee. We said the President has done good, that each and every Jim and Jack, nobody should let down or should not drop from school because of school fees. Now for the boarding, let's subsidize it if it will be possible for the Minister of Education to do that. But we salute you, and let's the part be at the government if the part is supposed to be given to the government, that you've done well and you've bailed us well, we've bailed us out of the problems which we used to have. And I'm sure I will be waiting for the budget come Friday to see where the budget, whereby some of us were not free in this country. We were even threatened to live in this country. Where is they going to have the budget where we're going to look into the plane which crashed in Chikangawa? This is what we are looking forward come Friday, that in that we should see the budget so that we should be free Malawians in these ones. People were traveling, people were just bringing the drone in our homes to see whether we are there or not. And this is the government where we're able to sleep. And when the rain was raining, we are afraid to say, are they driving, coming to my home or whatever? So we need to investigate in that plane crash and the budget. That's what, Friday if I'm coming from that, nothing else. I'll be coming from that. Are we having the budget for the plane crash in Chikangawa? Because we are free, but if you're not looking into that, you've done well, you've started well in the corruption. You've started well in doing whatever, the food, the fuel, you've started well, but we are looking for this. Nobody should let this take this nation as if it is his or her nation. It's for everybody, where everybody is supposed to be free. And we pat you out of the back for whatever you're doing. Shame if you are one of them. Even if people were just shouting on the meeting to say, hey, and we hear today that these are the very same people who were buying fertilizer without even looking into the purpose of buying the fertilizer. And some of them, they're lotting there, yet people were suffering, failing to access some of these NIF items, which they said, we are going to give you money, and you're going to give you maize, you're going to give you fertilizer, and when you do that, you're going to give us money. At the end of the day, we found that in the warehouses, a lot of that, and as Public Accounts Committee member, we'll be looking into that to see who is this one. Because people are pompously announcing as if NIF of their salary, as if NIF was their food, as if NIF was their child, whereby people are not even free to have that money. Thank you so much, the first Deputy Speaker, for allowing me to contribute.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Mulanje West. I would like to encourage your committee through the chairperson that is outside to indeed look into those anomalies and report to this House at an appropriate time. Malawians who contribute for their taxes need to know what was happening, what is happening. Your parliament will give you that support to do that. Thank you very much. Honourable member for Cholo Central, who happens to be the Minister of Local Government, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much, First Deputy Speaker, for allowing the people of Cholo Central constituency to comment on the state of the national address as presented here in the chambers by His Excellency, the President of this Republic, Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika. On the onset, allow me, First Deputy Speaker, to thank His Excellency for returning me as Minister of Local Government after 2 reshuffles. It's not easy. I must say, when a night comes and you see the reshuffle paper, these other ones who are in cabinet would understand. And to His Excellency, I don't take it for granted that I have been maintained. Secondly, allow me to thank His Excellency, the President, for a SONA that has really provided a clear policy direction. It is a SONA that has set a pace. It is the SONA that has given people hope. What we're waiting for is now the final details of the budget. Remember, this is a budget session, and the budget is never presented by the President, but the Minister of Finance. As such, what the President does, Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, is to set the tone in a form of a SONA. So for everyone who's been worried to say we needed final details of where the money will be taken and how the money will be spent, that is the responsibility of the Minister of Finance and not the President to do. I would like as well to thank the President for coming out very clearly in charging us, members of Parliament, ministers, judiciary, and all those that are within the public service, that in discharging our responsibility, we must do that with dignity. We must understand that the powers that we're using today are borrowed only from the people of Malawi purely on trust. Therefore, we can't afford to let them down. The President did not mince his words. He was very clear that he's not going to allow corruption to dominate as was yesterday. In case somebody wants to try him, then you try him. Otherwise, corruption has really delayed development in this country. It is time that we stigmatize corruption. It is time that whenever I or anyone wants to indulge in corruption, he must feel stigmatized by you or by me. And that is the only way that we are going to protect taxpayers' money. And indeed, the only way that our economy will begin to grow. It is this very president who has demonstrated leadership. There was a time when people who never knew what running a government was came in this chamber and he called people names with a lot of ambitions. Now, just like how in America they say, you ask for coffee, you've got it, smell it. Alas, the government was given to them. Look at what happened. Butcheries became the order of the day. They didn't even know where to buy fertilizer. Alas, they didn't know how to run the government to the extent that they could not even know that a pharmacy is not anywhere you buy fertilizer. And they went there in search for fertilizer. They did not know that when organizations are put in place, they are there to save Malawians. Look what happened. They created what they called mega farms, only to give fertilizer to people who sold them. They did not know how to use vibrant young men who are in the chamber now, really contributing positively today, spelling out very good policies today, but they put them in the bench, and it took people who never understood anything, and then what did they do? Plunder, 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 until this country, very country, Mr. Speaker, got on its knees. By the time His Excellency Professor Mutharika was getting into power, the economy was on its knees. And if it wasn't of the change of leadership, by now would have been finished. Our debt stress levels, Mr. Speaker, sir, by the time we were getting into government, was at 92% debt stress levels. 8 short of getting to default level. Data is there to back this up. What that means, therefore, was all of us, our children, our dogs, our clothes, our chickens, and everything was in the debt of Malawi. How can that be? In 5 years, debt from 4.2 trillion, surely getting it all the way to 28 trillion. What were you doing with the money, by the way? What were you doing with the money? You thought it was mangoes in a tree. It cannot be. And there was tobacco with people who struggled. You couldn't even buy that tobacco. What were you doing? What do you think the running government was, by the way? Mr. First Deputy Speaker, I would like to invite them that just in 5 months, Second Deputy Speaker, you will see that inflation that was right around 30% is now going down. The biggest problem in an economy as we had was to stabilize the economy, to stop the economy changing it from the nosedive where we were, stabilize it, then it will begin to grow. But to expect that they're stopping it, if stopping it was easy, it is as good as saying, somebody who has just fainted here, you say, why have you fainted? And the person says, if you think fainting is easy, faint yourself. It is not easy. If you thought that running a government was easy, you have just seen. Mr. Speaker, it is not easy at all. 5 years, for 5 years, we were struggling in this country. But for 5 months, we've got fuel reserves done, and that one we have built. We now, people that are traveling, they can get a bit of it, not yet there, but there is hope. In this country, maize was going up to 100,000 kwacha, when people who were part of the running government were keeping way over 8,000 bags at their homes. And the philosophy they were running, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, they came here and said, we want to take care of the farmer. Food inflation is not about the producer. Food inflation. All inflation is about the consumer. 101 economics. You take care of the consumer, you take care of the other bit. We will now talk about the producer later. And that's the art of running the economy of a country like this one, whose inflation really hinges on the food inflation. Mr. First Deputy Speaker.
You have 1 minute to wind up.
Point of order. Mr. First Deputy Speaker, I watched and saw...
Honourable Member, we need to allow the Honourable Minister to wind up so that you can come with your point of order. Because at the onset of his presentation, you've listened now, he's got only 1 minute. Let him finish. If you can forget your point of order, please ask your neighbor to keep it for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. When we have been given the authority by our people to run the government, we have to do it with all our ability, all our knowledge, and all our might. The people that are now buying the maize at 30,000, they now have got disposable income. From the little hard work that we're doing, when the maize was getting to 100,000, and they were discussing that, wait, we will sell it 150,000 kwacha, forgetting about the responsibility and the oath of office that was taken. And later on, they say, why have you bought the maize in Zambia? When they know very well, forces of the game, demand and supply, simple and straightforward. Bring out your maize, we will buy it, they want it at 150. Guess what happened? A lady from Mangochi, an economist, did her calculations, checked with the president there, the president of the republic, saw merit in it, and what happened? An influx of maize came into the country. Now, those that were hiding the maize, they began carrying the maize even on their own head, running with it. We've got maize in Malawi. Are you sure that the professor needed to wait for you until this is sorted out? Today, Malawians are able to eat. It is a healthy nation. It is a nation that is able to feed itself that will be productive. I would like to thank the President, His Excellency Professor Peter Mutharika, for his wisdom, and that this country can see light again. As I wind up finally, let me assure the House that just like how somebody said it during the campaign, which never came, that we got it. I can assure you the 5 billion kwacha per constituency, Mr. First Deputy Speaker, we got it. I thank you.
Thank you.
Usaiwala kupanga subscribe ku channel ya AMTV Malawi.